All right, so I'm here with the founder of House of Hardcore and ECW legend Tommy Dreamer. How you doing?
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to do first is do the hometown thing, is promote your House of Hardcore shows.
Absolutely.
And to me, I always wonder, like, what made you start House of Hardcore?
The general progression, I guess, one of Tommy Dreamer, two, almost out of anger.
Out of anger?
Dealing with crappy independent wrestling promotions, which happens to everybody.
Yes.
And something I always wanted to do. And then it was just a weekend where it was almost like the stars aligned. I got screwed over by a promoter, which hasn't happened in a long time. And I hate the fact that when you still hear stuff like that. And then I was just kind of, let me do one. Mm-hmm. It hit. And then I was like, let me do another one. Mm-hmm. Went well. So I did one the first year, two the next year. And then it was just kind of been steamrolling, and we're coming up on House of Hardcore 21, 22, 23. So doing almost averaging one a month.
Yeah, you've been fledgling. This is fledgling business because I thought personally, with certain wrestlers, it was like, they work WWE and then they go back to doing a lot of independent dates until their time has come, or some of them are paid. They don't have to do that, like John Cena. But you started your own company, and it's just, I hear about it all the time. And I'm just like, I want to go to a show one day. I got to go to a show, and I have already. I think the last Blizzard Brawl was sort of like that, and, with David Hero up in Wisconsin. But I wanted to ask you personally, like, who stitched you? Like, you can't.
No, it's no worries about throwing people under the bus. I think with social media, some guys should, but even if you tell people promoters are stiffing people, I think people would still show up. That's kind of what wrestlers. You try to hope that he doesn't stiff you. Mm-hmm. It sucks because it would get rid of a lot of riffraff. Mm-hmm. And I hate hearing that. I mean, there's been some horror stories where people stamp out on charities and all that stuff. So I'm trying to eliminate that, as well as start my own company. Is also make a better working environment for my friends, my peers, and fellow wrestlers. And for me, I've also I have a great reputation with wrestling fans, and I think that kind of has stuck. I have kept every stipulation. I have given every show surprises of unadvertised talent, and I'm also still a fan, so I guess that kind of has all resonated why my business has, done very well. I've also had a television show with the Fight Network that I purposely did almost like a series. Did 13 episodes, which then led to...
What's the title?
No, it was House of Hardcore.
Okay.
On the Fight Network. And then I did that purposely to go to my show that I did in Toronto and set the attendance record there in Toronto.
I never heard that news yet.
The Ted Reeve, yeah. And now, actually, I just tweeted moments before we did this that I just signed for Blizzard Brawl and my next two other shows to be on Flow Slam. And it's going to be pretty big for me.
That's the same company that does Evolve Wrestling. Right now,
they're a whole new network, and they... people just are associating them with wrestling because the wrestling community is so strong, especially on social media, but they have tons of programming. And now it's not about, my whole thing was getting a television deal. It's not about just getting a television deal now. Now you can get more people to watch your stuff via the internet, via, you could watch everything from your TV, from the internet. So it's a bit of a game changer for me, and being able to show my product more to the masses.
Yeah, because Fight Network is fledgling, and then Flow Slam is fledgling. They just did Evolve in New York, and that was the infamous day that a good guy that I know by the name of Styles, he got fired. It's kind of like,
you get fired from a company if they're not paying you. But I'm not saying not paying if they're not your employer. But that was a beyond stupid situation, and. Joey, of course, as he always does, takes the high road. And the only thing, I guess, that it was handled very, very poorly. And that's all really to make it. I wasn't there, didn't hear it. But if you think about society and think we are as a whole, that same night, Dave Chappelle said he grabbed a woman's pussy.
You can say that.
Okay. He said he stayed at the Trump Hotel and he grabbed his maid's pussy. Sorry, Lorne.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed. And he dropped 3 N-bombs and everyone laughed.
And that was just a monologue.
Yes. But I don't... Joey's situation could have been handled after the show ended, and it went from a spark to a grease fire to an all-out inferno in a matter of seconds, and it should have never went down that way. Also, it was not even, the word wasn't even said.
No, it wasn't. I was there.
So it was handled wrongly, and hopefully all parties have learned from it and they can move forward. And I'm happy that Flow Slam, who kind of had to take the neutral side to it, though they had to say that they were supporting their client, which they should. But it's all good, and there will be no problems with House of Hardcore and Flow Slam, and I hope one of my matches somebody does grab ladies' area. Or somebody just grab my area. Look at me, I'm trying.
Well, we saw it in ECW many years ago.
We saw it at House of Hardcore many times. Hey, I was just on Tosh.0 myself the night of the election grabbing Francine, but nobody saw it because the election was going on, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I was basically asleep during that program, during the election program. But House of Hardcore, you have brought many names to the table. You brought Mysterio. You brought, I don't know if I can say...
Rio.
I was going to say El Patron. You brought a good guy that I know before he got signed, Brian Myers, who is now Kurt Hawkins. So I have to say, though, that one of the things that I've seen and I've been impressed by was Chris Hero.
Hero's awesome.
People joke about him because of his weight and whatever, but he's still an awesome performer.
It doesn't matter about your weight. It matters about with your ring. My whole thing, no politics, no BS, just wrestling. It's your talent and your ability in the ring is all I care about. That's how I was raised. People want to talk about bodies and all that stuff. That you're judging a book by its cover. I want to read more of the Chris Hero book.
Yes.
I want to read more of other people's book. Hell, if that happened, I don't think anyone would have wanted to know Tommy Dreamer's book. So you can't judge a person like that or a talent. But
I still, personally with me, it's like you're a former wrestler, and then you have some of these promoter guys that are saying like, oh, Tommy Dreamer doesn't know what he's talking about. But at the same time, in ECW, you worked in the office with Paul Heyman. You were like his right-hand man.
Sure.
So it's like you see Dreamer, the wrestler, but you don't know Dreamer, or your real name, the businessman.
Yep. But also we did it. I ran what's now NXT. I ran the WWE developmental system. I ran OVW and Deep South Wrestling, which now are, NXT.
I seen Bill DeMont a couple weeks ago.
I had, that's cool. I had budgets to reach. I had a lot of stuff on my plate, and that, I'm a college graduate. This is business, just like the NFL is a business, Major League Baseball is a business. So when you're looking at things, you have to look at things for me, for my own shows. I want to field the best team that's going to win me a championship. So far, I have been successful at that. I was looking at my July 15th is when I ran the Ted Reeve Arena.
Yes.
And then I also did a show, that was in 2015, and then I did a show in May of 2016. My show in July, just because I went to the poster last night with NXT's TakeOver, I've had 9 people who are now in WWE from that show. That hurt. That sucks for me, great for them. And since May, I've had 7 who were on my show are now in WWE. So it's cool for them, and I will continue on my path so I can sign people to contracts, so then they don't automatically have to go to somewhere else. I have a great relationship with WWE. I'll be on Monday night doing something with the network. I have a great relationship with Vince, Shane, Stephanie, Hunter, but I'm just trying to carve out my own path.
You're a well-respected man in the locker room, and You know, I've shaken your hand many times. We met 2 years ago. And the one thing that made me pop when you came back for your latest run in WWE was that the fact that you wore House of Hardcore shirts, because I thought WWE was so closed off to say you can't wear anything except for what they give you or just a black shirt for you to come out. And I just popped big because I'm saying that is his company and he's wearing his shirt. And was that an easy task, or did you have to go through so many?
Nope, wasn't.
You just said I'm just going to wear my shirt and go out.
I didn't say anything, and I also don't even know if they even realized it and/or cared. It's a different business right now. You know, just you look at. You know, you said you're at the Evolve show. WWE has sent talent to Evolve. They had William Regal at that show. A lot of Evolve talent, you know, were under contract. They sent them that Tommy End,
yes,
who was signed.
Same one of his last matches.
For me, I had Rhino's last indie show. He worked for me a couple times because that's the respect for the business and letting wrestlers stick to their dates.
Yes. A lot of wrestlers don't do that in the indie scenes. They say, where the money, and then they go where the higher.
Then you're stupid and you'll have a less longevity in your career. For my next shows, what do I have? I have Tony Nese will be there with me December 3rd, and then December 16th in Philly's his last ever indie show.
Okay.
For the Joppa show, I have James Ellsworth.
Nice.
Spirit Squad.
Okay.
Who else do I have? I guess that's really it WWE wise, but all my shows are pretty loaded. It's when men or women make a commitment, they will fulfill it. December 3rd, I have Mickey James, who just tore it up in Takeover last night. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well, thank you for promoting your future shows. I would love to go to your shows, probably wear a shirt and promote it and go on social media and everything.
I'll whoop your ass next time I see you.
Wait a minute, I'm going to Milwaukee.
All right, well then I'll see you in Milwaukee.
It's like Milwaukee, and then I have a choice between Joppa or Philly, which I probably go to Philly out of respect for Tony Nese last show.
Have you ever been to the ECW Arena before?
Yes, I have.
That's great.
I have been in the summertime, and it is cooking in there. So whenever people tell me ECW stories about in July, and it's so hot, it's swamp ass in there. Like even the prettiest female in the arena stinks in the ECW arena. Not joking, it's hollow ground.
Trust me, it's improvement for what it used to be.
It's great in the wintertime if you want heat.
It was just different, and but for what they have done to what it was, it's amazing, and I love it. And you can't beat that atmosphere. And if you're a wrestling fan, you have to go to an event there, because then you're not really like, I'm a baseball fan. I just went to Cooperstown, first time in my life. I had to make the trip, and if you're a wrestling fan, you got to go to the ECW Arena.
Okay.
And for a House of Hardcore show.
Well, I got two more questions.
Go for it.
One, I want to know either your craziest or greatest 2300 arena story.
I have too many.
I should have asked you a Balls Mahoney story.
I already just told a bunch of them. My greatest 2300 arena, I would say, is me and Brian Lee from the Scaffold match. And Brian Lee grabbed, if you can watch it on the WWE Network for $9.99. There you go, Vince. Pulls down a piece of the wire from the building, starts choking me with it, blah, 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 blah. Then he let it go. After the match, I come in the back, and the guy who's running the building, he's like, "Can I talk to you too?" And I was like, "What's up?" He goes, "You know that black wire?" And we were like, "Yeah." He goes, "That was all the electricity to the building." He goes, "I do not know," because he ripped it off the wall. Because I do not know how you both weren't electrocuted right there once he grabbed it. He grabbed a lot. It had a rubber, but he grabbed the electricity to the entire building, so we could have just fried up there. So that wasn't a great story, but it was just that
Thank
stuff.
God for that.
I want to say for what, dude, I've been blessed to see so much great stuff there. As Tommy Dreamer, the wrestler, Tommy Dreamer behind the curtain, the fan. I think the greatest thing, the smartest thing that Paul Heyman, one of the best things he ever did, was he brought ECW Barely Legal there, our first pay-per-view, and we were being offered more money to go other places, but Paul knew that if he took that anywhere else but there, people would have shit on him. And to give the first pay-per-view to the ECW fans in the ECW Arena, was pure genius, and the emotion and pride out of that show you can never capture ever.
Well, one thing, one of the craziest stories that I found out at ECW Arena, I think this is ECW Arena, was the arena that the storyline with Raven and the Jesus Christ. That wasn't you. It was
Sandman.
It was Sandman. And that was when Kurt Angle was there and he walked out.
Stormed out. He was mad.
Yeah, that was the craziest. He just stormed out. He didn't say anything to anybody.
Well, no, he said if you ever show him, he wanted to be trained by at House of Hardcore, the original House of Hardcore, and join ECW, and he was just very, very upset about, which is stupid, because I've seen men crucified on television. It's kind of the same thing, but wrestling always falls into that weird place, just like we started off talking about Joey Styles. It falls into that weird place where, that was just Joey Styles. That wasn't Joe Bonsignore, and the fact that he didn't say it too is a big thing. Wrestling, if you think about, you can never have an overly homosexual character anymore, like a Rico, or like, remember when Billy and Chuck were going to get married?
Oh yeah.
An organization will get mad, and then it has shut them down. It's same with Muhammad Hassan.
What about Katie Vick and Triple H in the casket?
Well, that was just bad booking. I'm just saying, these people are playing characters, but yet you can have people on television, Sons of Anarchy has had some pretty controversial stuff going on there. And you can have people who play gay characters and they're not gay, but yet if it's professional wrestling, all of a sudden people have a problem with it. And so it's that weird mix that I never understood, because it's not real. They're playing a character.
Well, they think we're all buffoons in the industry, so that's why that umbrella comes down to us. Now, the other question I want to ask you, and this is a staple on my show, is advice to younger wrestlers and or promoters in the business. Because I know you are fruitful, full of advice.
Okay. If you're a promoter, make sure you put together a budget. Make sure you can go in there saying, I can lose this much money. But don't just say, I'm going to run a wrestling show, because once you say you're running a wrestling show, if you call one person, you have a commitment to that person. You have a commitment to that person's family. If you have a venue, okay, it's math. I can fit 2 people in this venue. I'm going to charge $100 a ticket, so that's $200. So right then and there, the most you can make is $200. Well, the ring rentals maybe cost you $300. So right then and there, you're going to lose $100 if you're going to run this wrestling show. You have to do the math. Here's my venue. Here's how many people I have. Here is how many price for tickets I should charge. With that, know that when you do a show, you have to pay rent. You have to pay for insurance. You have to pay for wrestlers to perform. So after you do all that, there's your budget. Put that out there, and then also go into there saying, I may lose all of this.
Yes.
So if you have that to lose, fine. Don't say, I'm going to pay people off on the gate. Don't do any of that. Just say, that's how I'm going to go out. I'm going to go to work to lose money. That's crappy, but if you're going to roll that dice, and trust me, I roll that dice all the time. That is one. If you're a wrestler, just like anything, master your craft. This is, if you want to make this your life, then be in the best shape that you can. I have seen guys where they ask me, like, oh, what can I do? And I would say, you're going to need to work on your body. I see them 7 months later, and they're still in the same exact shape or worse shape. I have heard people tell me, well, it's hard to get in shape, or I want to get paid to get in shape. No, that is the wrong. You have to eat, sleep, and drink this business, or else you're not going to make it. And that's just not in this business. That's in any. If you want to be a football player, play in the NFL, then guess what? You need to practice your ass off. If you want to go to the Olympics, if you want to become a Major League Baseball player, you got to be in the batting cage every day. Derek Jeter practiced every single day that he could. If you listen to anyone's stories, and you should watch documentaries, Peyton Manning went out there and practiced. Everyone's like, he would study playbook. You have to sacrifice a lot for the rewards at the end. And then the people who stood by you during those sacrifices, they're your friends forever. The people who didn't, get them out of your lives, because it's all good.
God, man, you have so much. Even I was about to go there on your home state of New York about the athletic commission and the controversy they were in with charging with the shows and the paramedics and everything. Because I work out of an indie company called Tier 1 Wrestling.
It happens.
And people just like, and I was involved in I wasn't really directly involved, but I was involved with controversy with a female wrestler.
I heard about all that stuff.
In the
But you
ring.
know what?
Yeah.
They're making. You have to make some changes in requirements. Again, it is also too a business. But I wish the athletic commissions. Blading is a thing of the past.
Yes.
Unless if somebody started bleeding in WWE, let it happen, because guess what? Everyone is tested, so it should happen. I get tested. I always have gotten tested, even during ECW, because I was afraid of AIDS, and I used to drink people's blood because I was an idiot. But if the athletic commission, if they're doing stuff to protect the wrestlers, that's better and making a better environment, and also will help weed out crappier promotions. You can't treat this then like it's UFC though, because that'll hurt everybody, you know. So men versus women, that I have seen men versus women matches. I'm from ECW, and
You power drive the woman
all the time, and I'll power drive someone tomorrow because, like I said, usually they're all okay, and you can't. But I've seen men do stupid stuff to women, and women get hurt. This business is not about. It's not UFC. It's not about hurting your opponent. It's working together. So, if the athletic commission has to step in, I don't know. I wasn't there at your situation. I don't believe there is a ruling about it. But guess what? If you got to adhere to the rules, you have to adhere to the rules. I think they're still making some changes, and it'll work out okay.
No, it was just boxing. A man couldn't get in the ring with a female, so they bypassed it. She went on.
You can't treat wrestling like it's boxing. You can't treat wrestling like it's MMA. That's kind of where the gray areas are falling into. When you got to get insurance policies on boxers and MMA fighters, and they want it on wrestlers. We're not trying to kill each other. Boxers aren't trying to kill each other, but strike blows to the head happen. Same with MMA. So I think it'll all work out in the end.
All right, well, Tommy, one more thing. Plug your social media, and that'd be
Sure.
it.
I'm the Tommy Dreamer on Twitter,
Very funny
Instagram.
account.
Thank you. The Tommy Dreamer on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. HouseOfHardcore.net and House of Hardcore on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you very much, Tommy. You've been a great interview in my career as a podcaster, and I'd love to have you on in the future.
Thank you, man.